Hi, Nicole.
Hello.
Welcome to Previously Gifted. Thank you for being on the pod. Today, I'm chatting with Nicole Rafiee. She is a YouTuber, and we are going to talk about everything. So yeah, just get into it.
This is
Like, do you want to give an intro?
Yeah. We can give it like a proper intro while we've been like talking already for like however long. Yes. So I'm Nicole Rafiee. I am a full-time YouTuber, but a full-time student as well, and also a full-time vegan because we have that in common. No, I don't know what genre you would really call me on YouTube. I think it's more so just like personality based, sometimes experimental meaning like I don't do experiments, but like I just kind of make whatever video I want that week. And I love it, and I've been doing it for 2 years now, and then I'm a podcaster, and that is my entire life story right there.
That was going to be one of my questions for you, was like, how would you describe your channel? Because I'm going to give the pitch to everyone right now. For those of you who don't know the Nikki Nasty, in my brain, I'm like, Nicole or Nikki? I'm like, Nikki on its own sounds weird. I have to say either Nikki Nasty or just
Right.
Nicole. So I'm going to stick with Nicole for a moment. But for those
That's
of you
fine.
who are unfamiliar, Nicole does, well, you kind of started with like college YouTuber stuff, at least in the last like year or two-ish. And now I would say you've transitioned more to like vlogs, personal content, kind of advice recently also, like that inspirational, motivational kind of stuff. And so it's interesting to hear you describe yourself. I feel like that's the hardest question as a YouTuber, when people are like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Internet analysis.
Literally any time that anyone asks, I'm like, you would just have to go look. Like, based off of my last video, it is not really that similar to the video previous to it, but I've just kind of accepted that and kind of embraced that, to be honest, because I've realized that people actually like that I'm not just like one certain type of thing. And like, there's definitely, I feel like, genres that I'm like, I will never touch that. But now I'm like I used to say I will never vlog. Like, I used to say that I will never ever vlog at the beginning, and now I do it and I love it. And you know, right now I'm like, I will never make cooking or fashion videos. But you know what? Like, that really might change within the next 6 months. Like, who knows what will happen. So I just kind of do whatever I'm feeling that week, and then a star is born, and that's just how it happens.
And then the magic happens every week.
Exactly.
You never know what to expect. Yeah, I feel like more YouTubers are kind of that way, like, rather than being, you know, more of a genre YouTuber. So I think it's great. And I think once your audience like expects that from you, like anything goes, then it's cool to see things kind of shift and evolve over time.
I agree. I think like with your channel, well, first of all, like the evolution behind your channel is like so vast through the years, but like you kind of stuck to like the similar content, and you found like what works for you and you like run with it. So I always like ask myself, like, will I perhaps like find something within the next year like that is just like my certain niche, and like will I run with that? Like, I have no idea, but like I'm open to it. Like, if I find that a certain thing just kind of sticks and I love making them and people love watching them, then I'm not opposed to in the future, like, you know, maybe even like doing just one thing on my channel for like a certain amount of time.
Yeah, like I never meant to do that, and I feel like I talk about this a lot now, but like once internet analysis unofficially started, I just like kept going with it, and then it went on for so long that like now I feel like if I post anything that's not internet analysis on my main channel, it's like, what is this? This doesn't belong here. And it's like, yeah, it's like this unspoken assumption, which is kind of a good thing because at least I know what my channel is for, but also it does feel slightly limiting sometimes. But also, like, the way that internet analysis is, it's such a big like umbrella that I can almost squeeze anything into it, so it's not really that confining. When did you find my channel, by the way?
When did I find your channel? I think the first video that I found of yours, oh no, like now I'm like really committed to finding out. Well, first of all, it was definitely an internet analysis video. I'm like quickly Googling currently.
I can start with yours while you look for it.
Oh, okay.
This is in my list.
Sure.
So I found your channel through the classic viral video, a guy answering questions girls are too afraid to ask. And I know obviously like a lot of your viewers came from that video. I don't know. I mean, it felt pretty random in my recommended, but for some reason I ended up clicking it. And even though it's like, it's very different than your own solo videos. That's the weird thing about a viral video happening that's like different than your usual stuff. Because then people are like, oh, are you going to make this a series or is this a thing? And you're like, no, it's a one-off. This was a one-time thing. But I remember watching a lot of your other vlogs after that. And I was like, love her, followed, here we go. And it was so cool to see your channel grow. Even over that next few like months, it was a lot.
Thank you. It is my most viewed video and my most hated video. And by most hated, I mean by me. Like I hate that video with a burning passion. And like I'm open saying that. Like I've said that on like multiple videos and stuff like that. But it got to be this bigger thing than I intended it to be. And it just reminded me of those videos in the past. Because when I put it up, I saw like nothing really wrong with it. I never record with other people. It was more so just like of acquaintance / like friend coming over to visit my roommate, and he always wanted to be in my videos. And then I was like, wait, I have a quick like video idea that maybe we could do tonight if you want to film, because he always said that he wanted to like film a video for my channel. And then I quickly just asked like my Instagram followers if they wanted to see like this video and like basically, do you have any questions for a guy? And that's when I got them. Didn't think much of it. It was like pretty uncomfortable to film. I don't film with other people ever. Like all my videos are solo. And edited it. That's the worst thing to ever say. Edited it. Yes. Ugh. And I edited it over, I think, Thanksgiving break, uploaded it on a whim, and then that's when it started to like get bigger and stuff. But it was fine until I realized that that video reminded me so much of those videos from like 2013, 14, of guys being like, what guys really look for in girls. And
like Nash Greer.
Yes, and JC
Oh my
Kalen
God.
and that whole entire squad. And it wasn't until a while when I realized that that's like what I accidentally did. I don't know, the questions on TikTok were always like so different. It wasn't about like what guys really preferred. It was more so like,
I feel like it would be like, do guys really think about sex all day?
Yes.
Or like, do guys really want to hook up with every girl they know?
Yes. It was more so like those questions. And I didn't have a lot of followers at the time. Like, first of all, like my YouTube channel, I think it was around like maybe 10K. Especially on Instagram, I didn't have like an enormous like following. So the questions that I got were like limited, to be honest. And so I just kind of asked whatever I received for the most part, except some like really invasive questions. And then it just kind of like spiraled. And I accidentally did the trend of like, what do guys look for in girls? And I was like, no, that's not what I intended whatsoever. And so then I just like look back at the video and I am sad because I don't ever want people to like be like, oh my God, Nicole's video has made me self-conscious about like myself. And that's just like my last intention ever. So that video put a rest to it. I could have followed the trend and everything and kept going with it because it's escalated so much, but I was just like, I'm putting her to rest. She's dead. I'm not that woman. So I don't know her. But the video that I found you from was, I think it was You're Not Relatable Anymore, which is your most popular video. And I think I watched that because like there were a lot of creators who I like watch and stuff or used to watch and that were in that video and everything. And I'm almost positive that's where I found you. And then we had in my apartment, we had a ginormous TV that came with it because I was an RA. So like I didn't even pay for this apartment. It was just like gifted to me, #gifted. And so me and my roommates would just sit and watch like your videos on like the huge screen and everything because that was my first time like having a smart TV in my life. And I was like, look at this girl, Tiffany. And so I think that's what happened. And we were just sitting there, we're like, wow, so true. And yeah, that's how I found you.
It's funny because that video, I feel like that was a great video, I can admit.
Yeah.
When I go back and watch it, I'm like, damn, a banger. But also I feel like I'm trying to keep that in mind as I exist as a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Because like even from there, I probably had maybe like 200 or 250,000 back then. And then I grew pretty quickly because of that video and some that I made around that time. But yeah, like as my channel grows, I'm like, wait, I could be that person who's not relatable anymore. I'm like, I don't think I'm like in danger of flexing a bunch of wealth, because that's just not what I'm into. But like, yeah, I'm like, am I gonna become unrelatable at some point? Because like if I were really honest about like my daily life or like my personal finances or things like that, it's like, I think I have become less relatable, because like being a YouTuber and like making a very comfortable income as a young person is just not relatable. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, in some ways I feel like I am, like, I don't know though. My point in that video was like, don't make it the focus of your content, because like if you start just making every video about like, this is my luxury mansion and these are my 10 cars and this is my Louis and my Gucci, it's like, again, a lot of people enjoy that content, but I just think if you're trying to be like, I'm just like you, except I live in a mansion and I have 10 cars. So yeah, it's something that I reflect back on a lot, because I'm like, the danger's always there. But also, like, I think my content's not really based on me exactly, or it's not based on like my relatability. I guess if it like messed with my commentary, then like that could be an issue. But yeah, it's something I think about. You got to check yourself.
Right.
Literally, your past self checking yourself.
Yes, literally. I think about that a lot, because I think about like where I was in life a year ago and how that was a much more relatable person and stuff. But the thing is that I'm a lot happier now and I'm doing what I love now, and I feel like I don't want to go back to like the old self of myself, because that version of myself wasn't happy, not just because of like the state of my life, but like I was doing, you know, working jobs that I hated, not getting paid very well for the jobs that I hated, and you know, working so hard in school and like having still like a year left to go, and then just like my living situation was very like unsafe and bad, and like even though like that version of myself is a lot more relatable and everything, I'm a lot happier where I am today, so that it's kind of hard now to like be like, I'm so happy because of X, Y, and Z, but the only reason I'm here is because like YouTube has brought me that, and that's just not a relatable thing. And I even have like, YouTube is now my internship for college, which I have totally finessed. Thank you. I literally don't know how I do know how I finessed that. I really just like convinced the provost and everything. But she was talking to me and she's like, you need to make a personal finance video and try and inspire like young people on how like you went from being broke last year and now like you're not broke. And I was like, no, I really can't do that, because that's not attainable for everyone. Like, imagine if I really made a video and I was like, here's how to be financially stable. Do YouTube and follow my
go viral.
Footsteps. Yes. And hope for the best. And just continue at it. And that's how.
Right. I know.
That's just not something that I would like want to promote or anything. And other than that, I don't have a lot of like financial tips. I don't think I have a credit score. I don't even know if I have a credit. I don't have a credit card. So I know my credit score is not good. Like, I don't have a lot of, I literally just like invested for the first time the other week. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I have no type of actual financial tips to give.
This is so funny, because I actually wanted to include some like finance questions, but I was like, I don't know if it'll like fit. Nobody asked me to ask these questions, so I'm glad it came up. But yeah, like I felt the same, because I've made like personal finance kind of videos throughout the years, and like I was like super broke and like making very little money working at Starbucks and like not working a lot of hours, making maybe like $200 a month from YouTube, which was like cool, but obviously not like paying my rent.
Right.
And then like when you're making videos like that, like I was talking about like my debt, my credit card debt, my student loans, very relatable. And then when my channel started growing and like this became my full-time income and I could actually pay all my like bills without, you know, stressing, I was like, I would love to talk about these updates, but also I know that it's not relatable in any way, and it's probably not helpful to anyone, because like, again, I can't tell you tips. Like, I can't just be like, yeah, if you just, I mean, some people will sell this to you. They'll be like, oh, all you've got to do is be an entrepreneur and start a business and work hard, and then suddenly you'll be making 6 figures. It's like, no. So like, if that happens to you, very lucky, but like, there's no actual how-to. Unless you want like, you know, basic advice about like maybe building a certain kind of business. But even YouTube advice, like you can follow all of the recommendations, but there's like absolutely no guarantee that you'll be successful in whatever ways or like do anything in a certain amount of time. So yeah, I know I keep wanting to talk about like my updated like student loan payoff stuff and blah blah blah, but then I just feel like it's like not inspiring or educational in any way, because it's like, oh cool, I am making enough money to like throw big chunks at my debt. There you go. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's not a helpful video.
Right. And that's the thing, is like, even personal finances, like in terms of like college for me, it initially, like, I was just very, well, not lucky, but like having a single mom and, you know, financial aid and everything, like, you know, it works out and everything. And so I was lucky with that. And then the only advice I had to give was like, I worked at Chipotle to get tuition reimbursement. And that's what I did for 3 years. And that's what worked for me. Chipotle changed like their rules. Now you have to work like 20 hours a week just to like get your tuition reimbursement. And when I was still there, I had to work once every 3 weeks. Like, I just don't have any like solid advice to help with that kind of stuff, which is just like, on top of that, another reason why I wanted to stray away from like college content and stuff, because first of all, I don't want to be a college YouTuber, and I don't want to like hold myself just to making college videos. It's not like what I solely enjoy. And then on top of that, I'll be out of college soon, and my college experience is like not really that traditional as well, because it is traditional in the sense that I went, but being like first gen and not really having a lot of like school pride and just kind of going and changing your major a whole bunch of times, and then your job being something that is totally unrelated to, well, we're still doing media and you were doing YouTube, which is related in that sense, but we're not out here gonna go like apply for jobs or anything.
Right.
And so it makes it kind of non-traditional in the sense that like we'll get our degree and we'll be like, thank you. And then that is essentially, for right now, like that's just gonna be it. And so I don't want to be giving like college advice or financial advice or that kind of stuff, because I'm just like a person who got very lucky and did some weird things and then and by weird things I mean YouTube, not like any sketchy things.
I did some weird things. Yeah. We'll talk about that. No, I feel like it's like, yeah, it's like you're a YouTuber who happens to be a college student, and you're a college student who happens to be a YouTuber. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, they're kind of like not connected, but we will get into that. All of those things you mentioned are on my list.
Yes.
So we will see. Let's take a little break, and I will pause my camera and restart it, and we'll come right back.
Awesome.
I also brave decision to wear a sweatshirt because like it's very hot, and I know it gets even hotter when I'm recording. But I was like, this looks comfy, so I'll wear it. Every other shirt, that's the biggest decision when I'm trying to record something. I'm like, what do I wear? I don't know. I don't have anything to wear. I wish I could be a YouTuber without having to be the YouTuber.
Yeah.
If I could just be the brains, maybe, and then like have someone else be the whole
just
body.
a head sometimes, and like just nothing about the clothes. I agree. I always like have to think so hard about like what I'm wearing, and then I'm like, why do I care so bad about like what I'm wearing for a video? Like and I'm like, no, I already wore this in another video. Like, it's clothes. Of course I own them. I'm gonna wear them again.
Right. I know. I'm like, oh, how embarrassing that video filmed 2 weeks ago. I wore that, and then I'm wearing it again. Outfit repeater.
Someone's gonna call me out.
Lizzie McGuire, outfit repeater. I will never forget it. Okay. We are back. Hi, hello, everybody. We are going to get back into things. I wanted to make the point. This is the big point of me doing this podcast with Nicole. And I had mentioned to her that we have a lot in common. And that is that we are both vegan, YouTubers, media studies majors who are graduating this very semester. And I thought, wow, those are a lot of coincidences. That's a lot of really important information to know about both of us. So that's kind of going to guide our questions today. And we were laughing because those are basically like our full identities.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing you could add to mine is like Bernie Sanders lover, but like, I mean...
No. We have that in common. Like both, I should have worn my Bernie 2016 shirt. Yes.
I was gonna wear a Bernie shirt. I saw it in my closet and I was like, it's a choice.
After the next break, we'll just both come back in our like Bernie attire.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, actually, that's what I've been wearing under this. I like to keep it close to me, but I just, felt like I couldn't bring it out yet. People might question, why are you wearing a Bernie shirt when he didn't get the nomination. And I'll say, because hope never dies.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's see. Oh, I also wanted to ask you, random icebreaker. Are you into astrology? And if so, what are your signs?
Yeah. Okay, so I am well, yes, the answer is yes. Like, I'm into astrology in the sense that, like, for someone who is just kind of, like, trying to explain that they aren't into astrology, I'm like, yeah, I'm into astrology. I really am into astrology to, like, does that make sense? Like, I should probably, like, emphasize more that I'm into astrology. I am a Virgo rising. The middle one is Scorpio, whatever that is. And then the last one is Virgo as well. So Virgo, Scorpio, Virgo. I'm born September 10th. Yes. That was kind of shocking when I found that out.
That you were born September 10th?
Yeah, that was shocking to me.
I was shook.
And I even, like, got a reading from an astrologist for the first time ever. She's a family friend. And we did it through, like, Zoom and stuff. And that was, like, early in quarantine when I got that done. And by early, I mean, like, mid. But all the months are blending together. And that was, like, an amazing experience. Just because I wanted someone with, like, higher, like, intuition and everything. Like, I always consider myself a very, like, spiritual person. But, in the sense that, like, if someone told me, like, no, Nicole, astrology is not real. Like, they had, like, proof or, like, whatever, just, like, solid whatever, I would be like, okay, like, that's, okay. I believe you, but, like, at the same time, I'm having fun with it now, and, like, it's, like, fun to do, and, like, if an astrology reading makes me feel better about myself and makes me want to be a better person because of what she tells me, then, who really cares, you know? Yeah. That's how I feel about it.
I feel like I'm at, like, the level where most people are, where it's like, I like it to the extent that I'm interested, it's entertaining, it's informative, but I'm also like, cool, that changes almost nothing about my life. But also I'm like, I look at CoStar. I don't check it every day, but I'm like, oh, let me compare my friendships with people, and I look at the pattern. I recently finally got my boyfriend's birth time. I was like, can you text your mom? He's like, no. And I messaged her on Instagram. I was like, hi. I was like, do you happen to know his birth time? Exact, please. No guesses. And so that really, that illuminated a lot for me. And I read him, like, one of our little bond explanations. And I was like, oh my God, this is so true. And it's fun, you know? Wow. He's a Virgo, so that might mean something.
Interesting.
I always wonder, like, yeah, like, well, I don't know. Because people always say, like, certain signs work well together, but it does get complicated when you're like, okay, so we could be compatible on, like, any level, like sun, moon, rising. I'm a Libra sun, Pisces moon, Capricorn rising, if that means anything to you.
That means the Pisces means kind of something. Every single Pisces that I've ever met in my real life who has confess to me that they are indeed a Pisces are all very creative people. I've just noticed that. You know what I mean? There's, like, some people who I've never met before. I can't tell you one single, like, Capricorn I know. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say that. Yeah, when I look at, like, my best friends over the years, I'm like, I have a lot of Geminis. I think I get along well with Geminis. I have Leo, Sagittarius. But, like, yeah, there's, like, a handful that I know, and then I'm like, I can't name one Aquarius.
They probably don't exist.
I don't think so. I mean, if you're listening, let us know, but I don't know if I believe it.
Yeah, like, it's just, like, for me, it's, like, fun enough that I'll, like, entertain it and everything, but at the same time, I don't take it, like, too seriously in the sense that, like, I won't talk to certain people if they're, like, a certain sign or anything like that. I just think it's more, like, fun than anything, and then getting told by, like, an astrologist that I am, like, such a powerful woman and everything, like, that feels really good. So I will probably continue to go to the astrologist and occasionally read my CoStar and continue to, like, make jokes about being a Virgo in my videos. And yeah.
I know. I feel like I mentioned me being a Libra, like, way more in my videos than I would in real life. Like, I feel like people might be like, oh yeah, she's really into it, like, Libra. But then I'm also like, it's just because my Libra characteristics very much come out in my videos. But also people are like, oh, I see you as more of, like, maybe a Capricorn. And I'm like, that's my rising. Yep. It all makes sense. Everything is justified. How convenient. Let's just jump into it.
Sure.
First category is YouTube. And again, these are all based off of our shared characteristics, other than Bernie, but maybe someday we'll have a whole Bernie pod.
Oh, yeah.
Just pretend we're in an alternate universe and everything went the way that we wanted it to this year. So in the YouTube section, so many questions. Someone asked Nicole, they said this is specifically, cannot say that, that's so embarrassing. Side note, my boyfriend has this recurring thing that he does to annoy me where he says that I say pacifically instead of specifically, and I can assure you I have never done that, except maybe just now. And so he does it to mess with me. I'll say specifically, and he's like, pacifically? And I'm like, I didn't say that. Right. And he's like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, don't mess with me like this. I was like, I'm saying it right.
Yeah, someone commented recently that I said milk, like with an E, like instead of milk. And I said, I know for sure I did not say milk because I hate people who say milk. So don't get that into my head.
You're like, how dare you, first of all? Yeah. And also, I would never. Even if I were unconscious and somehow talking, I would never.
Milk.
Milk. I might be a fan of milk, but never mind. We don't have to get into it. The question, Nicole specifically, best moment of your YouTube career so far? On the spot.
On the spot. I feel like what a lot of people say is like when they hit like 100,000 subscribers, but that was just like such an iconic day for me, to be honest, because like it was like this ginormous like thing that I could never imagine happening, especially like the time that it did. And then right before it, like quite literally like 20 minutes prior, I got a tattoo, which had like a lot to do. It was for Alex Turner and like the Last Shadow puppets, but it like the meaning behind it was about like getting what you want and whatever you want in life, and not, you know, settling for less and not waiting around for someone to like get you what you want in life. And it's like based off the song Miracle Liner. And I had no intent, like I didn't know I was gonna get 100,000 subscribers that day. Like I scheduled my appointment like a week or two before, so it just happened to be on that same day, and my appointment just happened to be like 20 minutes or however many minutes before like I hit the subscriber count. So that was just like a very special day for me, because I just felt like, oh my god, like here we are, like wow, I am on cloud 9. And so I think that was like a really cool like YouTube moment that I'll like never forget that day.
Yeah, that's really special. I think I agree. Like I remember like I made a video, when was that? Geez, maybe like 2009, 2010, when I hit 3,000 subscribers. Very rare milestone. But I was like, hey, we hit the big one, 3K, which was a big deal. And especially back then, like even having a few thousand subscribers was a lot. It's still a lot today.
It is.
But yeah, I remember when I hit 100K, embarrassing, it just slipped out. I made a rap, in case you haven't seen it.
Yes,
Nicole.
I have seen it.
Oh no. And so me and my best friend wrote it, because we used to make like parody rap songs together.
But we didn't.
So that was just one of many. This is how I became so good with GarageBand, which explains, you know, my podcast and audio talents. So we made this rap song, and then my sister, we wanted to go out to Joshua Tree randomly. My sister was like, oh, like I know some people who like made a community out here, and I was like, that sounds sketchy, let's go. So we went out, it was interesting, and then we recorded the music video like in the desert, and I had the gold balloons for 100, and one of them popped, of course. So I was like, oh cool, even better. Like I had this like deflated one around me, and I was holding the other ones, and that was like a couple of weeks before I actually hit 100, so that I need to not say
prepared.
It like that. I truly cannot say hit 100,000 subscribers. My brain just goes hit 100K. So if you guys haven't heard that song, you might feel uncomfortable watching it, but that's another side of me that like I don't get to show a lot. I like to rap, and I like to dance in music videos in like a sexy hot jacket in the desert.
I feel like I can never imagine you making a video like that today. Like, ever.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of sad.
I know. I feel like she needs to come back.
This is a realization I've had, is I think, because for a lot of my, like, young years, I thought that I was funny, and I just don't think that's very true anymore, but we'll get into it. And I realized a lot of my humor, or, like, me being silly, came from being with my best friend. Because, like, we met when we were, like, 12, and we've been friends since then. So, like, all of my silliest things were, like, collabs with her, or, like, we would both do silly shit together. And I'm like, maybe I was just funny because I was encouraged by her specifically. Like, she's literally doing, like, stand-up. Like, she's funny. And I'm here doing serious commentary, serious YouTube. So, yeah, I'm like, maybe that side of myself is just brought out by that person. And
You
maybe
guys
I'm
both
not as
found your
funny as I
path.
was. I know, yeah. But it's a little sad because I'm like, I want to be a silly girly again, you know?
I struggle with
Someday.
that a lot. Like, I always want to be, like, the funny girl, the cool girl, and everything. And then you just sometimes have to realize, like, you can't be so funny all the time. And I feel like that's, like, another internal struggle I face, like, with my own YouTube channel. But, yeah, I feel you.
You're like, should I be funnier today? Or, like, should I be, like, big sister, helpful?
I know.
Can I be all of the above? Such struggles. But then you become hyper aware of it.
Yes.
And you're like, wait, am I putting this on? Am I trying
That's
too
the
hard?
worst.
That's the
Yes.
thing, too, is I had another friend that, like, we would make videos together or, like, vlogs. And when we were hanging out for, like, a while, I started to, like, copy her jokes,
Mannerism?
as you do
Okay.
with friends. But then people were like, you're copying so-and-so. And I was like, yeah, technically I am. But, like, also,
I didn't mean to.
we're, like, hanging out. So,
Yeah.
okay. Is
You
that
kind
not
of
a
eventually
pass?
become one.
I'm like, sorry, my friends are funny, and I like to try to be funny like them, but it'll never work. Okay. Wow. Next question. Someone asked how to shift away from being a college-based channel. So as you said,
yeah.
that's been kind of an issue for you, or a journey.
Yeah. I think, like, for me, so one of the worst comments I got recently was someone who said to me, what is Nicole going to make videos about when she graduates? Because she's going to be done, like, she's going to be done with college. What kind of content is she going to make? And I was like, I don't make that much college content. Like, really just around, like, college season. Like, that's, like,
Right.
prime time to make college content, like, August through, like, early September. And then you can milk it for a little bit, and you're like, this is the prime time for this kind of college content.
Side note, the whole back to school season, do we not remember when all the lifestyle girlies would make, like,
Right.
back to school videos when they were, like, in their 20s and not in school for, like, 5 years?
Exactly. And that's why I said I will never, ever become one of those people. So I was like, I'm going to make the remaining college content that I want to while I'm here, because I'm never going to pretend to be her again. Like, that's just not going to happen to me. And so I think when you, like, look at my channel, a lot of the most, like, quote-unquote, like, successful videos or the most, like, popular videos of mine are not really college content videos, which makes me really happy, which means that people aren't, like, coming to my channel for college-related content. Like, it's there, but I think people like my other videos more, and I like my other videos more, too, most of the time. And so I think for me, the biggest thing was, like, I really decided for myself, like, I don't want to be a college YouTuber. I don't want to be promoting my university. I don't get paid for that. And, like,
We'll get into that, yeah.
yeah, I don't get paid to promote, you know, Temple University and everything. And so
Not
if people
sponsored.
not sponsored whatsoever.
Give me
And
money,
so-
Temple. Thank you.
Exactly. Like, pay for my tuition. And so if they if I were to make that kind of content, it just doesn't sit well with me. So I think it was kind of like an actual decision I made for myself, where I was like, I'm toning it. I am gonna tone it back, and I am not gonna make college content really for a while, or until, like, I actually have an idea where I'm excited to do it, because it's just not desirable to me right now. And I think that kind of worked well for me. And then when I would sprinkle it in from time to time, that was really it. So I think it was more like a kind of like an abrupt thing, but also a gradual thing, and also finding, like, what you like to make videos about. Because I never really, like, when I started off my videos, they were more so like a touch of personality and everything, with the occasional college video in here and there. So I think if you want to, like, separate yourself from a certain genre, prepare. I think I was also small enough to the point where I could do it and no one would really notice or care that much. But if you're, like, a gaming channel and you're like, I am done with this, you might have to make an announcement about that, to be honest, because people are going to be very confused when your thumbnails change and your content changes completely. So yeah, either make it, I think you have to play it by ear. Either make it really gradual or really abrupt.
I feel like as, like, a college channel, or like, I bet you never really identified as a college channel. It was
Right.
just like, again, like a YouTuber who's in college, so I'll make college videos because that's
Right.
what I'm going through. And I feel like it is definitely a good like genre in terms of like finding new viewers, because a lot of people search those types of videos about
Yeah.
dorms or being an RA or studying, but also like you're not specifically in like the study tube realm.
No.
So like, yeah, I think people sometimes just are like, oh, I discovered Nicole during her college phase, or like when she worked at Chipotle or whenever. So they like romanticize that original version of you that they met.
Right.
But it's like, of course you're not going to stay that person. And like, why should you continue making content that doesn't fit what you are interested in or what you're doing? I think also
Definitely.
with college content, it's like the college YouTubers that I know, it's like if you stick to being a college YouTuber, then you graduate, then you move on to like post-grad content or like first job, like job search stuff. And I made a video about this, but like a lot of the YouTubers that I know of that did that ended up quitting their, you know,
Right.
quote unquote 9-to-5 real jobs to be YouTubers. So it's like, I feel like even if you were to like, I'm going to stick on this, you know, trajectory, then like you already know you're not going to try to pursue a traditional job right away after graduation. So like, it's not like you'd be able to do that next step for the college YouTuber anyway.
Exactly. And so that's why I wanted to stray away from it. And even though like the potential is so there, like the girls who are making those college related videos during primetime back to school season, they are raking in the views, raking in the money. And like, of course I look at that and I'm like, it could all be so easy. But I'm like, but that's just not me or what I want. And I've also like just, it doesn't sit well with me to try and make something if I have genuine no interest in it. And like, I'm not a big college girl anyway. Like I think if you have like a whole ton of school pride and you have like a lot of college advice to give and you're, you know, even like a study tube, like people who ask me for studying advice, I always tell them I still don't know how to study. I'm in my senior year of
Me
college.
too.
I still don't know how to study. Like I'm terrible. Most of my like assignments are project based anyway. Like I have not had a single exam or quiz this entire semester, which I'm so grateful for, which is exactly
Me
why I'm in
too.
the major that I am. So I'm just not your go-to girl. But there are so many other people who totally are, and they totally deserve the hype. So they're the ones that should be able to, you know, rock the college content while they can.
Right. It's like you could make, I've had some people ask me those kind of questions too. Like, can you talk about college or how you write essays or how you know, study? And I'm like, truly, I have no tips for you.
No.
The fact that I have gotten through all of my schooling so far is a miracle.
Yes.
I won't say that, but I'm like, I do my dysfunctional way of functioning, and like, I would never promote it because it's not
No.
helpful. It's not very helpful to me, and it also is definitely not good advice for anyone.
No, like that's part of the reason why I am graduating a semester ahead of when I'm technically supposed to graduate, what is like the traditional route, because I can't do it anymore. I can't stand it. Like I don't know how to do this thing anymore. I'm getting out. So I'm just not the right person to be helping out with that. And so I think I'll stick to my like little weird videos of rating people's dads and, you know, eating like oranges in the shower, and I'll stick to that. And if people like it, then they do. And if people want the college content, then I'll, you know, revert them back to other good old college girlies.
Good old college girlies. And we're back. All right, Nicole and I are going to get into more YouTube questions. I think we only succeeded in answering like 2.
Yes.
We've just been popping off, even off camera, off mic. I mean, that's what a podcast is all about. So my next question from Instagram was, how do you approach making videos after going viral? And is it hard for you to make content that you enjoy versus content that you think your viewers will want to see? So as I mentioned, I found your channel through your first big viral video. So I'm sure that kind of established a standard or like a type of video that people might have expected from you. So yeah, how did you feel about all that?
Yeah, I feel like, well, my first thought after it was like getting bigger, well, I made a different type of video. I literally made a turning myself into Baby Yoda video directly after, which
Oh my God.
that was like not like any type of like, there was no plan with that whatsoever. Like I just was like, I really want to turn myself into Baby Yoda. But I think honestly, like I felt this pressure to like maintain that whole like trend of that video, and I was like, oh my god, and like I was already planning like getting my girlfriends together and being like, we have to make questions guys have for girl, whatever the title is. Like I have to do that video now and like continue on the trend and stuff like that. Like that will help me. But then I was like, well, I honestly don't really have a lot of interest, and I have all these other videos planned that I really, really want to make. And so I hope that my new audience will enjoy it. And to be honest, I'm really happy that I did it the way that I did, which is just simply moving on. And that helped me a lot because I felt like my audience, who like the newcomers, could adjust to my content that I regularly like to make. After the Baby Yoda video, I literally made a video called like going platinum blonde because this semester's hard, and it was like a vlog, and I like love that video. It was so much fun. I just had like a fun little day where I like dyed my hair and stuff, and I don't know, I think people got to like know my personality more because that video, like that viral video, had nothing to do with me. Like I was the one asking the questions and stuff, so I think I did it subconsciously in a really good way. So I think if someone's video were to go viral, play it cool. Don't stick on it too much. People can tell when you just like hold on to that, like that's your baby, and you're
right.
like, you can't let that go. Like sometimes you just have to move on and like progress, I think.
Yeah, because that's the thing, especially like as a smaller channel or as a channel that's trying to figure out like what you want to do on YouTube. Sometimes you do just make kind of random videos, and like sometimes you're trying to see what sticks, or like see like, oh, this might do well or this might flop. Who knows? Like you never expect a video to go viral, and that's the funny thing. Like when a video does blow up, you're like, why this video? And it always feels random, and like you can never predict which video is going to do really well. But like it's definitely tempting to appease your new viewers and be like, oh, they liked this, so I'll give them as much of this as they want. But then it's like, yeah, you don't want your channel to be that thing, unless you do. But like in this situation, like what if that was your entire channel this whole year? You would have flopped like eventually, because people would be like, I don't want to watch this forever.
You know what? And not to like throw anyone under the bus, but someone took my like that concept of a video idea and ran with it. And this person continuously made that type of content, but then it turned into like sleazy boy content, like what girls should do for a guy and like what I want in like a girlfriend, and just continued on with that content and would put my name in the description box of every single video. No. So if you looked up my name, this person would pop up, and I just got like so annoyed to the point because it would turn into like homophobic content, and I just commented on the video. I was like, hey dude, don't use my name at all like in this content. And like you can't run with that and expect like success. Like just because something works out once does not mean that it is a banger every single time. And like I feel like diversity in your channel is like important, and having like the genre could work for you, but diversity in the content, that's what people want to see, I feel like.
Right, like, yeah, maybe you could take the concept of, like, asking people questions. Wow, that's a good one. You guys should try it. No, but, like, yeah, you can take, like, a loose concept or something, or, like, whatever is your favorite element, but, like, yeah, you don't want to run it into the ground, and, oh, yeah, that's a lot. And I also think when you make videos like that, just for views, sometimes they can get a lot of views, but that doesn't necessarily translate to, like, subscribers.
No.
So like you can get like a lot of people watch, or even watch a video and watch like 10 seconds of it, but not care to watch the whole thing. And so like that's kind of the issue with like clickbait, or like just like doing anything you can to attract attention, but it's not enough to like hold attention. So watch out. Our next question was, how do you keep yourself motivated to make content even when you feel uncreative that day?
I feel like for me, what really, really helps is like I usually know what my next video will be, because I made a whole list of my next video ideas, and I sat down and I was like, Nicole, seriously think. Stop holding them up in your head. Stop writing them in your notes. Organize them all onto one piece of paper. And I came up with 16 video ideas that I want to do. And that's like the most like I've ever had, and that I knew that I wanted to do now. Like they're not like future videos, like they have to be in the future, but like all at once. I think having a list of like a backup list of things that you can do, like for example, like for me, I really, really like sticking to my schedule, but like also, if people aren't feeling inspired to make content, if you're not going to put your like best self forward, and if you're going to like drain yourself by making a video that day, then absolutely don't. Like, just don't do it. Like, nothing will happen if you are just like not posting a video. Like, the world isn't going to end.
Right.
But at the same time, like, sometimes for me it's just sometimes hard to even like pick up a camera, just because I'm like, what if I won't perform my best self, and like what if I just get so in my head. So sometimes I just kind of just need that push. And I think having a list and like an idea of what I want for that video really helps. And sometimes those videos end up like being some of my favorites, because I'm like, I didn't put that much thought into the video, and so then it just blossoms into what it is. Now, I don't personally script my videos, so it just kind of like whatever happens during the video happens. I can't predict it. So I think being prepared in the sense, like knowing what you want to do, but also being prepared to also scrap that video if you hate it. We're just not filming that day, and nothing will happen. The world won't end. It'll be okay.
I was gonna say there's definitely a difference between like motivation and inspiration. So there are plenty of days where I'm like motivated, where I'm like, I need to get work done, but then I am not inspired at all. And for me, like, I cannot force myself on like my bad days or my off days to film. Like my videos are like scripted and they're really long, and like even on a good day, it's like a big like challenge to like get myself ready and sit and like do the whole thing, because it just feels like this big like, yeah, it's like, oh, this is gonna take me like an hour and a half to get through, and I'm excited to do it, but it's also exhausting. So yeah, I mean, I've had so many days where I'm like, I know I need to film a video. It would be ideal if I could film it today, but I can't. So like, I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah.
Because also sometimes I have tried to film videos on days where I'm feeling like off or like just not feeling inspired, and it just ends up like not doing well. So then I'll record it, start to edit, and realize like, this isn't good. I don't seem right. So like, I'm gonna have to refilm it anyway. So I think that's definitely a struggle, not only with like YouTube, but I think with like a lot of creative pursuits or hobbies or anything. Like, you know, that's why when inspiration strikes, or when you suddenly feel motivated, like those are the best days, where I'm like, wow, suddenly I can get everything done today.
Yes. I am like a firm believer though in like, if you are like a creative person or something, like something that, oh God, I don't know what the term is. It's like something to do with motion, like something to do with creativity and motion. Maybe.
Inertia is a property of matter.
Yeah.
My inertia definitely works, because when I do nothing, I want to do nothing.
Oh, yeah. Of course. And so, like, I remember reading this quote about, like, let's just say, like, you're a painter and, like, you're feeling no inspiration to paint, you know, paint anything. Or, like, I think what Casey Neistat said in his recent video was, like, you know, I don't know what my next big thing is going to be, but I'm sure as hell I'm not going to know what that thing is by not doing anything. And so that's why he's been creating these like little short, like 4 or 5 minute videos. And like, if that is making you happy, and if that might lead to a bigger creative thing, then do it. But like, absolutely, if you don't want to do it, then don't force yourself to do it. But if you have that inkling, like, I just want to film something today, and like, I want to be creative, but I don't have like a solid idea, like, film almost anything. You don't always have to put everything out there, I kind of feel like. So I think that's what I'm trying to convince myself, is like, I think if I stop, I will just really stop, to be honest. Like, I'll turn into David Dobrik and like just not do anything for just like disappear. 6 months. Yes.
Except TikToks. He's on TikTok.
Except
that's
TikTok.
Fine.
Yes. Except TikTok.
No, that's a really good point, because like I do definitely get to the point, like, once it's been a while since my last video, and like recently, especially because I'm in school, my gaps between uploads are like 2-3 weeks, a month sometimes, and by the time I like go to film a new video, I do feel like, oh my god, it's been forever. Like, has it been too long? Have I forgotten how this works? You like get out of the like motion of everything. But yeah, I definitely agree. Like, if you're feeling some sort of energy or like motivation or anything, a little bit of inspiration, yeah, just go for it and see what happens. And yeah, especially on YouTube, like, yeah, over the years, some of my weirdest ideas came from, that was like the entirety of like all of my middle school and like early high school videos. Just me being a weirdo by myself. And
I had no plans, just turning on a camera, and whatever came from it, and that was it.
Love it. Our next question, I guess I'll combine these two. Someone asked, how do you improve your schedule to have more time for yourself? And someone else asked, how do you keep up with your mental health and regular posting? So I guess, yeah, how do you balance things? How do you manage things for your own sake?
Yeah. I think I used to be a lot more unorganized than I realized I was. Like, I thought I was organized because I would write things down occasionally, but I didn't realize how organized I really was until I got organized, and I was like, wow, my life has been transformed. So now immediately, like, if I have anything to do, I will just Google Calendar it immediately. Like, that has helped me tremendously. I was never a Google Calendar girl. I feel like I've used the term Google Calendar girl so often recently, but it's just who I have become. I also have like a planner, which I like plan my days out. I've realized like what works for me in terms of planners, and I found a planner that is just like day by day and like planning your to-do list and everything. That helps me out so much. I think that making time for yourself, like actually like setting boundaries is really important, because like I'm still have not mastered that like whatsoever. Like this week I'm gonna end up working like all 7 days of the week, which sucks because I don't want to do that to myself, but like it just is one of those weeks again. But I'm trying to have more of a limit, like past 5 o'clock I usually won't be like editing or anything like that. Like I'm trying to make that rule for myself. Like, will I stick to it? I don't know. But I'm trying to like actually have more time for fun, because I kind of like lost a sense of self and like what I like to do, because I just wouldn't allow myself any of the time to do that. So I think like actually setting time in your schedule, like on your Google Calendar, like no one thinks to do this, but like putting it even in like, I'm gonna watch a movie at this time. Like, just, like, even putting it in, it just, like, makes it more of a priority rather than just putting it to the side, I feel like. But organization, it's tough. It's really tough. And you don't think it's that tough until you're a disorganized mess. And you're like, how did I get here?
Wow. I've always wanted to be a Google Calendar girl, but like, I think I tried. No. I tried once. First of all, I'm terrible at not only time management, but also even just guessing how long a task will take me.
Yeah.
So like what I do is I'll write my like daily to-do lists, which are definitely helpful for like school assignments because they have to be done by certain days and times. But like for other things, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll just write that video today. I'll be able to film it tomorrow. And then I don't write the video. And then the next day I can't film it, obviously. So then I'm trying to catch up. And yeah, so I feel like I'd use Google Calendar as another procrastination tool. And I'd sit and like plan out a beautiful calendar, and then none of it would happen. And then I'd be like, well, now my calendar's inaccurate.
I don't like plan out like hour by hour things I have to do, but like I sat down in the beginning of the semester and I wrote down every single one of my assignments, and when they were due, it did take a while. I put in every single time that my Zoom classes were.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
I know. And then I put in like what videos are going on what days, and like little reminders of what I need to do, and like doctor's appointments and stuff like that. It helped out a lot, surprisingly, because now it's so cool when I get to like pick up my phone and I'm like, wait, let me check my Google Calendar so I can like do this thing. Like, let me see if I'm available. And it's helped out a lot because I don't know what I was doing before this, to be honest. I hate being like that, but I don't know what I was doing. Give it a try. Maybe I like it. Who knows?
I feel like I somewhat do that in terms of like, if I look at my, what is that called? Planner. I forgot the word for planner. I was looking right at it and I was like, what's that thing? If I look at my planner, like I like to add like certain due dates of assignments, or like now I write like the movies I'm supposed to watch by certain classes. So like that's kind of my way of like at a glance being like, okay, busy then, need to do that thing by that point. But yeah, maybe I will try out a new strategy, but also I'm like, this is somewhat functioning for now, and then once I graduate, I won't have to do that part of it, at least school stuff. But
yeah, exactly.
To answer the question for myself, in terms of like mental health and posting, I would just generally say I used to be a lot harder on myself. I never had like a strict upload date or schedule, but I'd be like, oh, I just want to post a video a week, roughly, and then if I missed it, I'd like feel bad, and then I'd try to rush myself, and I finally was just like, I will post when I can. And like sometimes that does have like gaps in my schedule, and like obviously I'm lucky enough to where like I can still survive, so like the financial element of it is not an issue, because if it were, then I would obviously have more reasons to stick to more of a schedule. But especially while I'm in school, I've been trying to remind myself, like, it is very okay for us as full-time students to not, like, be able to do as much work as, like, an actual full-time YouTuber. Because, like, we do have a lot of other shit to do, and, like, it is totally valid to be stressed and, like, have our split focus and not know, like, what we should prioritize. Sometimes I get comments from, like, viewers who are like, you know, don't worry about it. Like, even if you left until you graduate and then you came back, that'd be fine. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so sweet. I'm not going to do that. But, like, just knowing that people are like, we're here, and, like, we don't want you stressing yourself out and, like, doing all of this for nothing. And I'm like, wow, that's so kind.
I always, like, appreciate that, like, whenever people say that. But my fear is always like, oh my God, it's all going to go away tomorrow. Like, everything for me is going to go away tomorrow. So I need to keep them while they're here so that they don't go away tomorrow. And even though people will be like, no, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, if my favorite YouTuber doesn't post, I don't sit there and I'm, like, sulking over it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just go watch, like, another YouTuber or something. And then when they come back, like, I'll watch them too. But yeah, I don't know who put that, like, into our heads that we have to, like, think like that. That's very strange.
Well, it's like we're taught that, like, to stay relevant, like, in people's minds, but also in the algorithm, like, you need to post consistently, like, post multiple times a week, like, keep people coming back so that they know when you're there. And, like, on one hand, yeah, that's helpful because, like, people, I think viewers, if they like you, will always enjoy new content frequently.
Right.
But, like, yeah, to put that stress on yourself, like, oh, you better keep up with the schedule or you will literally lose everything. And, like, people are going to drop all interest in you and, like, everything you've built is going to collapse. Like, no shit, we're stressed because, like, I mean, it is so confusing. I talked a little bit about this with D'Angelo, like, the stress of worrying if, like, the algorithm's going to punish you or even if you're working really hard, suddenly something might change on YouTube and, like, everything might get destroyed. Who knows? So, yeah, I feel like there is that pressure where it's like, can I even wait 3 months until I graduate? Like, or do I just keep pushing through it just in case? Very scary.
I can't believe I have this, like, internal conflict with me because I was posting, like, twice a week for, like, 4 or 5 months consistently. And I had this huge meltdown about if it's okay until I graduate to only upload once a week. And, like, everyone around me is like, Nicole, that's how most YouTubers upload once a week. Why are you stressing about that? I'm like, it's all gonna go away. And, like, 2 times a week in my head, I'm like, oh my God, optimize, like, happiness for people, optimize happiness for me, like, optimal growth. And then in my head I'm like, 1 time equals bad, 1 time is average, 1 time is, and then part of me, I don't remember at what point this was, but part of me actually tried to convince myself to upload 3 times a week.
Oh my God.
I literally don't know what I was thinking. I've been consistently in school this entire year because I even took summer classes, like, at a community college online. And so I don't know what's wrong with me, but agreed. Like, I will likely be doing 1 video a week for the remainder of the semester, and then who knows what will happen after then. Maybe 3 times. That's never gonna happen. I'm not doing 3 times a week.
Don't put that on yourself. No.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I also think, like, because this is our job, we want to be like, I'm a good hard worker. And, like, I think back to, like, when I worked at Starbucks or any of my other part-time jobs, and I'm like, oh, I used to work, like, at least, like, 5 days a week. So, like, there's got to be enough hours for me to work, like, this much on YouTube or, like, even more. And so I feel like I put that, like, stress on myself, like, almost like if I don't work enough hours or time that I'm, like, lazy and I'm not maximizing my productivity. And even though I actively know that that's toxic and, like, untrue, I still can't resist, like, feeling bad or feeling like people will see me and, like, go to my channel and be like, oh wow, she still hasn't posted again, like, week. And I'm like, I get so, like, self-conscious about it.
It's such a weird thing. And, like, that's similar, like, when I would work, like, 40 hours a week at Chipotle. And I'm like, so I should be able to work at least 40 hours a week doing YouTube. I'm sitting on my butt. I'm not asking white or brown rice. I am, like, you know what I mean? I'm not doing all that. But then in my head, I'm like, Nicole, when you worked 40 hours a week at Chipotle, you were barely alive. Like, you were not well. So, yeah, I feel you on that.
basically my answer is if you are in a position, I'm speaking to you, the listeners, if you're in a position to cut down your workload in any way that helps your mental health and helps your physical health and your well-being, please do it, because no amount of like toxic productivity culture or like hustle culture is going to be worth like hurting yourself or making yourself stressed to the end of your rope or whatever. So yeah, if you have the ability to cut things out, or even temporarily, like as Nicole said, like carve out that time, put it in your calendar to watch a movie, or like give yourself designated breaks to where you know like this time is free time. Because I think like that mentally is nice to know, like, okay, at least in this allotted time, I can relax. And then after, I will get back to work if I have to.
Yeah, that's the best. Like, I like put in my my Google Calendar, I have to play Animal Crossing. And all day I was like, I'm so excited. I can play Animal Crossing.
That is so good. I still haven't played it yet, and I don't have a Switch. And all through quarantine, I was like, should I just get one? Should I just join in? And like, I feel like I will eventually, but it'll definitely be like after this has died down. But people are staying consistent. Like, people have literally been playing this for like 6 months straight now.
I'm self-conscious about how far people are in their games. Like, that gives me like stress. I'm like, their island is so pretty. Anyway.
You're like, I need to schedule more hours to Animal Crossing.
Yes.
Actually.
Exactly.
I always feel like making these podcasts and talking so much about YouTube, because I'm talking to YouTubers, I'm like, is it gonna get like annoying or boring for us to continuously talk about YouTuber things? But I think on one hand, people are interested, hopefully, but also I think a lot of it does apply to like other things.
Oh yeah.
Like the root concepts are somewhat relatable. I'm like, hey, do you have work to do? Me too. And we are back with one last YouTube question, I promise. Someone asked our favorite and least favorite things about being a YouTuber.
Oh, wow. I forgot about this question.
I know, that's a big question.
I know. Well, I don't want to say that this is my absolute favorite and least favorite, because I probably, if I had more time to think about it, I would like write an essay on like something different. But like I would think harder. Favorite, I think my favorite.
I know, I'm like, I just sprang this very difficult question on us and we did not think about it beforehand.
It's okay. We'll push through. My favorite, I think, is that I'm able to make the videos that I want to see. Like, I think it's really, really fun that, first of all, everything I get to do is very creative, and that's all I ever wanted, was to make creative content. And so I didn't know that that's what I was like lacking in my life, but that's just what I always wanted. So I think being able to just be creative as like a job is just super fun. And like, how cool is it that I get to make a video about, I'm like trying to think of all my recent videos. I can make a video about me ranting about being overworked, and like that is gonna relate to someone and somebody likes that, but it's also like tapping into my creative aspect. So it's like helping people while being creative. And I think like those two things like hold like a special place in my heart. My least favorite thing, I think honestly, like my least favorite thing about it, as of like recent, I think I'm really getting tough about myself about taking like criticism and judgment from people, but it doesn't even feel like criticism a lot of the time. It's more so, because I think I take criticism pretty well, like whenever I do receive it, I think it's more so people making assumptions about you and you not being able to debunk every single one. Like everyone has their own like perception of who you are as a person, because you just put yourself out on the internet and you have just like completely like given up free reign, and you're like, these people can really genuinely think whatever they want about me, and I can't sit there and comment back to every single person and be like, that is not true, this is the type of person I am. Like, that's just not how it works. And so I'm really hard on myself, like trying to hold back from like typing back to every single person and like people thinking that they know every detail of your life when it just like isn't the case. And it's hard when you're like, I'm not sure if like you experience this as much, because like when you're a personality person, like you're putting like a little bit more of your personal life out there and stuff, and it's just open to more people thinking what they want. And so I'm trying to like realize that it is a parasocial relationship that I do have like with my audience, and like the best way to handle it is to honestly just keep doing me and just keep putting, you know, my best self forward, and hope to God that people assume the best of me that they want to, or whatever it may be. Like, just
Yeah.
not, just hope to God that people don't think I'm a shitty person. And that's it.
I know. While you were talking, I was like, I low-key want to opt out of this question because it's such a big question that I'm like, I can't. I don't want to put the energy into thinking about it. I feel like generally I agree. I did think about this before I started recording because I was like, huh, good question. Mm-hmm. It's such a simple thing, but like it is hard to like vocalize. I would say generally favorite thing, I agree, like it is very cool, objectively cool, I would even say, to be able to do something that you're passionate about, you have full control over. Let's be honest, it's an easy job in most ways. And like at the point where I'm at least, like the money that I make from this, I find is just ridiculous, frankly.
Yeah.
In a great way. So it's like, I mean, I definitely can't complain about that. And I often remind myself of like equivalence of like, oh, how much would I have to work in these different situations
I do that
to make
all
this
the
amount of
time.
money? And it's impossible. So I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Very cool.
Right.
I don't want to say like the money's my favorite part, but I'm like, I'd be lying if I didn't say it's a major factor because
yeah, definitely.
holy shit. So then that makes me think like, okay, any of the challenges that I do have in this job or in this like situation, because it's not just the work. I think it is a lot of that like other stuff that gets in your head. But I think like all of those other issues, I'm like, is it still worth it? I mean, sometimes like I was having a rough time, maybe like a few months ago where I was literally thinking it's not worth it. It's not worth the stress that is happening to me right now. But I think I was very like in my own head. And I think, yeah, my least favorite things are the same, like being very concerned. For me, it's like my videos aren't very personal, as you said, but I worry that like I'm not representing ideas right, or I'm sharing the wrong ideas, or I'm not using my platform right or in a responsible way, and I get very, very like nervous about what I'm doing and what I'm putting out there. So I like overwhelm myself with those doubts about myself. And yeah, like people making assumptions about you or your life, it's just like it is definitely a big part of the job, but it's like I think no matter how long you do it, it's still weird and uncomfortable. And like I always try to put myself in like in the shoes of like big YouTubers. Like let's say David Dobrik.
Yeah.
Like I bet it's still weird for him to like know that so many people make assumptions about him, and I don't know. Am I making any sense?
I can't even imagine. Like I feel like to him it's probably like to a greater extent, and I think if anything like this being on YouTube has like humanized so many people for me. Like I used to like look up to David Dobrik, and like obviously I have never met him. I have not even gotten close to anything like that. I'm nowhere near his subscriber count or anything, and he's practically like almost like an A-list celebrity almost, because like he's so widely popular. But if anything, this has humanized him for me, because I realize like he clicks the same button to upload this video. Like you know what I mean? Like he does the same exact thing that I do, just in a different sense. And so I think if anything, it just made me realize like, yeah, it's still hard. And like people are like, well, when you get to like a certain point, like, and you have so much money and stuff, like hate comments or assumptions that shouldn't get to you. Like you have so much, but you kind of realize like me at like 300,000 subscribers, it still affects me, if not more than when I had like 10 subscribers. And so I can't even imagine like at such a larger scale. I think there has to be like some secret like cheat code that they give you once you hit like 2 million subscribers, where they're just like,
hope.
Yeah, this is the secret as to how you stop caring.
Right. Yeah, that actually, I think definitely as my channel has grown, I would say that my stress has grown, and sometimes my dissatisfaction with myself has grown. And like that's such a twisted like thing, which is definitely not something I anticipated. Like I always wished like, oh, I want to blow up, and I'm very glad I haven't blown up like quickly. Like some people straight up like blow up in a big way, and like I've realized how overwhelming that would actually be in actuality. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't do that, because it's taken me so much time, even in this like past like 2 years, to get used to things. So like if that happened to me within like a month, I literally wouldn't know how to cope.
No.
But yeah, it's weird to know, like I almost get scared like do I even want my channel to be bigger? Like, of
Yeah,
course
yeah.
I do in a professional sense, but then I'm like, oh, that's just more people who might say things or might criticize me, and they have every right to do so, because like my whole channel is about like criticizing things. So then I'm like, oh my God, I just have to be open to all this criticism. But I guess I'm like, okay, I can be open to it, but I also need to learn how to cope with it as a person, because I
Right.
still am a person.
Yeah, I think like that's like really I thought about that a lot, and I don't know where I heard this, but like some people say like, well, the harder that you rise or the faster that you rise, like the harder you fall or whatever. And like,
Right.
you know, like that's like scary to think about. Like some people who, you know, blow up have like no choice, no option, like it just kind of happened to them and they're like sprung into things. But then, like, obviously, like, not that relevancy is, like, important or anything, but, like, at the same time, you kind of ask yourself, like, how are they a one-hit wonder? And, like, it makes me kind of grateful in a sense that I grew in such a slow way that I'm able to appreciate every small, like, increment. Like, I still appreciate every single time, like, I reach another 1,000 or another 10,000. I'm sure, like, if you're on a bigger scale, you probably don't appreciate all those like little tiny goals. And I think like growing in a small, like in a slower way has helped me, because I can still be grateful for every like little milestone, because when you grow so quickly, they're all just like coming at you so fast and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and that's not to like shade anyone who has grown like super quick. Like that's still amazing. Like you clearly did something to make you grow so quickly, but I think it'd just be like concerning and like scary for me, like too much. Like I think I prefer the slower route than the faster route.
Yeah, I think when you blow up like really quick, again, you have so many people love you all of a sudden, but then I feel like either people might think of you as like almost like a phase, like they
Yeah.
remember when you blew up and they remember when they found your channel,
Yeah.
and then like I don't know, like I feel like I relate everything back to Emma Chamberlain, but it's like Emma was the it girl for so long and like so quickly and so like high in terms of
Yeah.
like fame. And then people turned on her because she didn't turn out to be what they thought she was, but that was like completely their own creation
Image.
of what
Yeah,
she
yeah,
was,
yeah.
or their own like reflection of what they wanted her to be. So like yeah, it's like, I mean, obviously Emma Chamberlain has not crashed in any sort of way.
No.
She's still incredibly popular and successful. But like, I'm sure that was part of the struggle, is like, yeah, like just the weight of all that expectation so suddenly. And then people judge you differently because they're like, oh, you're famous. Like you're now famous, so now you have to be different. You have to be the
Exactly.
person we want you to be. And it's like, yeah, I'm like, I'll take my gradual growth. Probably. I mean, I wouldn't mind a little quick jump every once in a while, but give me time to acclimate to it, because
Yes.
it's almost, wow, here's a really cute metaphor. It's like scuba diving, never done it, but like how you're supposed to come up for air slowly, because if you come up too fast, you like hurt your brain.
Yeah.
Is that true? Don't know.
Is that true?
I think so. Like it's some
I've never been scuba diving.
divers,
but-
please confirm. Yeah, me neither.
Right. No, that's a really good point,
I'm
because
almost
like
crying laughing at that because it's such a stupid point to make.
it's true.
I'm getting
You
loopy.
you cannot come up too fast because your head will hurt. So you know what?
Yeah, totally.
I'll think about that next time. Next time,
Damn,
like I
that's
have like a
deep.
really big spurt, I'll be like, Nicole, don't let it get to your head because it might start to hurt.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, there's some science behind that, but I just can't like explain it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's us being YouTubers. Okay. So that is the end of part 1. We actually recorded another like hour of us chatting, and I thought that I would release it in 2 parts. So in the next podcast, we will talk more about college and being media studies majors and all that jazz. So thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Oh, there's my laundry, sorry. And stay tuned for more Previously Gifted.